when routine bites high and ambitions are low, and resentment rides high, but emotions won't grow, and we're changing our ways, taking different roads. Love will tear us apart again. Love will tear us apart again. Why is this bedroom so cold? You turn away.
I swear I will not kill anyone.
Is my timing not flawed? Our respect runs so dry. Yet there's still this appeal that we've kept you alive. Love will tear us apart again. Love will tear us apart again. Fly out in your sleep, all my failings exposed. There's a taste in my mouth as desperation takes hold. Just that something so good just can't function no more. Love will tear us apart again. Love will tear us apart again. Love will tear us apart again. Love will tear us Thank you, Adam. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Peter. Good morning, Antiforia, and of course, good morning, Adam. Uh, yeah, this is what happens when you run up against the clock. Attention to details, people. Mm 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 mm. Do 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 do. Good morning, Stampy. Okay, that's fixed. Alrighty then. Hope you're having a wonderful morning. It is Thursday, May 9th at 7:32 a.m. Eastern. Good morning, chat. Good morning, lurkers. Good morning, bots. And good morning to those of you in the future watching this video posted to YouTube. I will not be streaming live to YouTube. However, after I've completed the morning news stream, I will be posting the video to YouTube. So that might make it easier to share. If anyone wishes to share the morning news with other people who are not on the Twitch platform. And if you are watching this on YouTube, might I recommend that you join us here at twitch.tv Globus _the _elder. Good morning, Cosmic. You haven't missed a thing. All right, we got a bunch of news to get to today, so we might as well get to it. New AI search engine Upend emerges from stealth powered by 100 LLMs. As Google and Microsoft continue to revamp their search engines with generative AI models, smaller players are going all in to challenge them with their AI first offerings. Case in point, Upend, a Canadian startup that has just emerged from stealth to empower students and professionals with Gen AI search driven by some of the best large language models out there. Upend started out as a summer project by Jivan Aurora from the University of Toronto School. After a positive initial response, he evolved it into a full-fledged platform that enterprise teams can sign up for. It works very much like Perplexity, which many believe currently leads this space when it comes to AI search. My goal is to make advanced Gen AI models more affordable, thereby democratizing access and ensuring everyone, can harness the tools of tomorrow. What makes Upend different? At the core, Upend offers users a Gen AI search bar where they can select any LLM from the options on offer and ask it a question about work or everyday life. The model uses the query and combines it with proofread, please. Your combines it with web search or the select source to provide grounded answers, complete with citations to help users go back to the source of the answer. The whole thing works very much like Perplexity, although Upend clearly appears like an early stage product. Perplexity, on its part, offers more comprehensive capabilities, including AI image search and data retention controls. However, Upend claims to differentiate itself with a bigger stock of models to choose from, unlike Perplexity, which has about 5 mainstream LLMs to choose from. Upend has a package of 100. This includes all big and small closed and open models, including general purpose models from OpenAI, Claude, and Mistral, as well as task specific ones like Meta's Code Llama and DeepSeek Coder. The new platform also provides an option to base answers on Wikipedia, which is not the case with Perplexity. We currently support more Office file formats for analysis like Word and Excel. One large differentiator is our approach to pricing. We really want to democratize access by charging based on total team usage and not charging based on the number of users on a team. Currently, the team plan of the product comes at $20 a month, and $20 a month appears to be the agreed upon dollar amount, right? And this gives access to all the models in its library up to a certain token threshold. After that, users have to pay based on their usage. There's also a discounted student plan priced at $5 a month. Well, that's nice. In contrast, Perplexity's consumer centric Pro plan comes at $40 a month or $400 per year per seat, while the ChatGPT team plan costs $25 per month per user when billed annually, or $30 a month when billed monthly. Upend claims it can drive up to 90% cost reduction when compared to these offerings. Okay, so correcting the thing that I just said, it looks like they are charging more for enterprise. So it's interesting. Competition looks like a decent UI, right? Attractive. So cool. We like competition. Okay, so last night we looked at a video on AlphaFold 3. If you weren't here for that, or if you're watching on YouTube and didn't get to see it because we don't run the video show on YouTube, AlphaFold 3, the AI protein predictor, gets an upgrade. DeepMind's protein structure predictor adds other molecules to the mix in a big step towards a nuclear clock. Uh, what does it say? Oh, it's a podcast. Hello, podcast. Um, so in short, DeepMind's AlphaFold has revolutionized research by making it simple to predict the 3D structures of proteins, but it has lacked the ability to predict situations where a protein is bound to another molecule. Now the AI has been upgraded to AlphaFold 3 and can accurately predict protein molecule complexes containing DNA, RNA, and more. Although the new version is restricted to non commercial use, researchers are excited by its greater range of predictive abilities and the prospect of speedier drug discovery. Very excited about that. Definitely one of the biggest success stories going on when it comes to AI. Workers are eyeing the exit in 2024 as LinkedIn and Microsoft study warns more people want to quit their jobs now than during the Great Resignation. Dun dun dun. The cost of living has spiraled. The threat of layoffs, thanks to AI and overhiring, looms, and flexible working arrangements, one before bosses started issuing return to office mandates, are now like gold dust. That's why, after 3 years of workers quitting their jobs at a record pace, about 47 million Americans left their jobs in 2021 alone. Experts have reassured employers that 2024 will be the year of the great stay. Y'all just make up words. Even the professors who coined the term great resignation predicted that it would fizzle out by New Year's Eve 2023. However, new data from LinkedIn and Microsoft shows that they might have been overly optimistic. The two tech giants surveyed 31,000 individuals across 31 countries, found that the percentage of people, 46%, who want to quit their jobs in the year ahead is actually higher than in 2021, 40%. Adding to the alarm, American employers are in for a rough ride. Around 85% of professionals in the U.S. are eyeing up a new job this year. Meanwhile, LinkedIn has already witnessed a 14% surge in job applications per role since the fall. Although previous reports have suggested that bosses are back in charge and using their renewed power to claw back employee first initiatives like working from home, LinkedIn and Microsoft report reveals that they shouldn't get too cozy just yet, and they know it. 9 out of 10 organizations globally are concerned about employee retention, and half of the hiring managers in Europe predict an increase in employee turnover in 2024. This means that keeping workers happy might just climb back to the top of managers' to do list. Workers feel burned out and undervalued. LinkedIn and Microsoft told Fortune that three reasons behind the sudden uptick in workers eyeing up the exit were burnout, a lack of learning opportunities, and artificial intelligence. LinkedIn's Workforce Confidence Index found that 59% of U.S. employees who are actively job seeking agree that they feel stuck in their jobs, versus 35% of those not job seeking. And 51% feel burnt out from their jobs versus 37%. Likewise, Microsoft's Work Trend Index echoed that 68% of people globally struggle with the pace and volume of work, and 46% feel burned out. While it's easy to mistake low attrition for contentment, in reality, many employees feel stuck and wish they could do something new but haven't yet made the leap. Perhaps explains why LinkedIn found that learning opportunities are seen as a top retention strategy. There you go. The pushback continues. Maybe you should help your employees learn stuff. People like to learn stuff. It's a whole thing. From PV Magazine, Italy bans photovoltaics from agricultural land. The Italian government has issued a new decree to completely ban solar from agricultural land. The new provision will not apply to projects currently undergoing the approval process. The Italian government has issued a new decree that prohibits the deployment of large scale solar plants on productive agricultural land. Final aim of the decree is to avoid desertification of Italian agricultural land. We wanted to regulate the use of photovoltaic panels, and we believe that the land serves to produce and energy production must be compatible with agricultural production. Lola Brigida said that solar plants can't be installed in agricultural areas. There are very advantageous tax provisions for agricultural entrepreneurs and agricultural land. However, if you want to deploy photovoltaic panels on the ground, you are changing the intended use of the same, and therefore we do not believe that this type of practice should continue. The government said it will still be possible to continue producing energy in quarries, mines, areas under concession to the state railway, areas under concession to airport concessionaires, areas protecting the motorway strip, and areas inside industrial plants, among others. Well, Labrigida said the government will safeguard all projects in the process of approval. For us, legal certainty applies, and therefore the rules are valid for what will happen and not for what has already happened or on which companies have legitimately entrusted their funds and investment. Yeah, that is, you know, ultimately where I fall at them is like, we have seen demonstrations of how you can combine the two things together. World's largest vacuum to suck climate pollution out of the air just opened. Here's how it works. The world's largest plant designed to suck planet heating pollution out of the atmosphere like a giant vacuum began operating in Iceland on Wednesday. So, one of the things about carbon capture is that a lot of the tools that have been demonstrated so far um, use a bunch of electricity in order to work. If you're using electricity that's powered by fossil fuels to power carbon capture, the best thing that you could hope for is a neutral. And if you're ending up with a neutral in that process, then you're actually not doing anything at all because you're consuming the electricity that you're producing the carbon dioxide, whatnot, for. Iceland offers a different opportunity because of their access to geothermal. So if you were to power this via geothermal, then that gives you the ability to do it at um, a carbon negative process. Let's find out. The world's largest plant, designed to suck planet heating pollution out of the atmosphere like a giant vacuum, began operating in Iceland on Wednesday. Mammoth is the second commercial direct air capture plant opened by a Swiss company, Climeworks, in the country, and is 10 times bigger than its predecessor, Orca, which started running in 2021. Direct air capture is a technology designed to suck in air and strip out the carbon using chemicals. The carbon can then be injected deep beneath the ground, reused, or transformed into solid products. Climeworks plans to transport the carbon underground where it will be naturally transformed into stone, locking up the carbon permanently. It is partnering with Icelandic company Carbfix for the so called sequestration process. The whole operation will be powered by Iceland's abundant, clean geothermal energy. I thought as much. Next gen climate solutions like DAC are gaining more attention from governments and private industry as humans continue to burn fossil fuels. Concentrations of planet warming carbon dioxide in the atmosphere reached a record high in 2023. As the planet continues to heat up with devastating consequences for humans and nature, many scientists say the world needs to find ways to remove carbon from the atmosphere in addition to rapidly cutting fossil fuels. But carbon removal technologies such as DAC are still controversial. They have been criticized as expensive, okay, so is death, energy hungry, and you saw that with the geothermal, and unproven at scale. Now, that is a question that's still open. Some climate advocates are also concerned they could distract from policies to cut fossil fuels. I mean, we can do two things at once, and we have to do two things at once. It doesn't, even if we were to cut the fossil fuels, there's still sufficient damage that needs to be undone. Surely they would be better using their energy for electrolysis to produce hydrogen, which can then be shipped around the world and used anywhere. Again, we can do more than one thing at a time, Cosmic, right? Like you have the geothermal that's powering this to reduce the carbon, and you have a different geothermal plant that could be used to produce hydrogen, so on and so forth, right? We need and we need it all. It does, but it doesn't remove carbon from the atmosphere, right? That's it's a two-part process. On one hand, you have to stop putting carbon into the air, and on the other hand, you have to take what you put in out in order to get us back down to a more reasonable level. So I hope that goes well. This is from Axios. Magical mystery chatbot is likely from OpenAI. Powerful new chatbot that opened up briefly on testing site this week, stirring buzz among AI experts and enthusiasts, is likely from OpenAI. And we came to this conclusion yesterday. The big picture: new AI tools capable of performing as well as OpenAI's. Okay, Cosmic, I understand what you're saying, and you're not listening to me. Okay? Everything we do, solar panels and hydro and every other wind, all those remove future carbon. But we also have to remove the existing carbon from the atmosphere. It's not just one thing, it has to be two things. If it's not two things, then we're going to continue to deal with carbons at the level that we currently have them. And that's obviously causing a bunch of problems. All you have to do is look outside and see them. So, not only do we have to create new green energy, you know, electricity production, but we also have to reduce the carbon that is already in the air. We have to do both. We can't just do one. And we can't just do the second one, definitely. For reasons that I already stated. We have to do both. Blah, 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 blah. New AI tools capable of performing as well as OpenAI's most advanced GPT-4 model are rare and cost a ton of money to build and train, which is why they usually come. There's no debate, Cosmic. It's not a debate. Your solution doesn't address the existing problem, it only addresses the future problem. Not a debate. Um, which is why they usually come from one of the known big players. A number of signs suggest that this mystery bot is OpenAI's, but it's more likely to be an improvement to an existing model rather than a brand new one. Driving the news. The new GPT-2 chatbot showed up roughly a week ago on LM as a well-known site that researchers use to test their products in a chatbot arena. It impressed many observers and sparked a speculative frenzy. And then Tuesday, it was gone again. It came back. I'm not sure if they're going to get to that, but it did come back. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman fed the fire on Monday, posting on X, "I do have a soft spot for GPT-2." Speaking on Wednesday at Harvard University, Altman told an audience that the mystery bot is not GPT 4.5, what many see as the likely next major update to GPT 4. An OpenAI representative declined to comment further. So I was thinking about this last night, and with the limited amount of evidence that we have available, I'm thinking that this might be that GPT-2 chatbot might be a small model version of GPT-4, right? It won't be GPT 4.5. It'll be something more akin to Gemini Nano, um, or Claude Haiku. Um, we'll see. I could be wrong, but it would make sense, right? Morning towards night. And again, we will be hanging out with Towards Night tomorrow, um, in the evening show. I'm going to start at my usual start time of 5 p.m. Eastern, and then we're going to hang out with Towards Night at around 6. So that should be a good time. Looking forward to it. That is excellent. That is wonderful. I'm glad you were able to get that taken care of. So yeah, we'll see what happens with GPT-2. Stabby. Guess who's back? Back again. Stampy's back. A friend. There, there, there. Mm, mm, there, there. Mm, mm, mm. All right, we're gonna talk. We got a couple of articles about the line. Neon planners reportedly fear its huge mirrored structure called the line will kill a significant number of birds. That's less than ideal. Neon planners seem worried that the mega project's mirrored horizontal skyscraper will kill a significant number of birds. According to documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal, the concerns relate to the location of the line, which is on a migration route used by billions of birds. In planning documents, in planning documents, designers wrote that it was inevitable that a significant number of birds will perish, illustrating their concerns with a drawing of a dead northern flicker. In a February promotional video, chief development officer for the line, Denny Hickey, said he saw the project as an opportunity to create a better model for a city to interact with the landscape and nature and the environment, and apparently kill birds. Hey, I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Thank you for the follow. So yeah, that is less than ideal. The line is being created in Saudi Arabia, right? Um, yeah, it cuts right across. There we go. So it's 170 kilometers long that goes from this side of the mountains, through the mountains, all the way to the ocean. And it's a huge obstacle for a variety of things. And they've done an impressive job digging a huge ditch. As far as like a function of human artifice, we have dug a massive ditch from across this 170 kilometer length. Um, that's about the nicest thing I can say about it. That it's impressive. Neom, Saudi forces told to kill to clear land for Ego City. Saudi authorities have permitted the use of lethal force to clear land for a futuristic desert city being built by dozens of Western companies, an ex intelligence officer has told the BBC. Colonel Ravi Alanezi, I'm going to go with, says he was ordered to evict villagers from a tribe in the Gulf state to make way for the line, part of Neom Eco project. Um, oh, this is nice. To give you an idea of how long the line is, it's comparable to uh, a building that would run from Bristol to London or from Wilmington to New York. Right? And this is the problem. Going back to take a look at this. This section over here has an indigenous population living in it, and this is an example of what has been done is they are removing the population from the area. So this was the village, and then this is it now. Um, he said he was ordered to evict villagers from a tribe in the Gulf. One of them was subsequently shot and killed for protesting against eviction. Looks like 3 villages have been demolished. Al Paraiba, Sharma, and Gayal. Home schools, hospitals have been wiped off the map. Colonel Alenezi, who went into exile in the UK last year, says the clearance order he was asked to enact was for Al Karaiba, 4.5 kilometers south of the line. The villages were mostly populated by the Huaytat tribe. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Who have inhabited the Tabuk region in the country's northwest for generations. The April 2020 order stated that the Huaytat was made up of many rebels, and whoever continued to resist eviction should be killed. So it licensed the use of lethal force against whoever stayed in their home. He dodged the mission on invented medical grounds. You can't bite my hand, dude. Serious business. So it licensed the use of lethal force against whoever stayed in their home. He dodged the mission on invented medical grounds, but it nevertheless went ahead. Um, yeah. Which, going all the way back to before they even started executing the project, this was this was brought to the fore as potentially even the reason that the line is being built is to remove this population from this area. And combined vanity project with um displacing uh indigenous folks, and this thing is an atrocity, and it kills birds. Whatever. All right, some better news here. Microbots swarm the sea, capturing microplastics and bacteria. Researchers have developed microbots capable of removing microplastics and bacteria from water, addressing the dual threat of pollution and disease spread in aquatic environments. When old food packaging, discarded or children's toys, and other mismanaged plastic waste break down into microplastics, they become even harder to clean up from the oceans and waterways. These tiny bits of plastic also attract bacteria, including those that cause disease. In a study in ACS Nano, researchers described swarms of microscale microbots, that capture bits of plastic and bacteria from water. Afterward, the bots were decontaminated and reused. And we got a little video of them swarming, so let's take a look.
These swimming beads are cleaning up microplastics. In a rotating magnetic field, the tiny beads stick together and form clusters that can trap contaminants. Researchers decorated magnetic beads with a polymer that attracts and traps plastics and bacteria. The swarms move in different directions depending on the magnetic field. They pick up contaminants like these bacteria as they swim along. Then they can be pulled from the water with a magnet and cleaned and reused.
So, simple, straightforward. I like it. The size of microplastics, which measures 5 millimeters or less, adds another dimension to the plastic pollution problem because animals can eat them, potentially being harmed or passing the particles into the food chain that ends with humans. So far, the health effects for people are not fully understood. You can imagine that they are not ideal, right? The size of however, microplastics themselves aren't the only concern. These pieces attract bacteria, including pathogens, which can also be ingested. To remove microbes and plastic from water simultaneously, Martin Pumera and colleagues turned to microscale robotic systems comprised of many small components that work collectively, mimicking natural swarms like schools of fish. To construct the bots, the teams linked strands of positively charged polymer to magnetic microparticles, which only move when exposed to a magnetic field. The polymer strands, which radiate from the surface of the beads, attract both plastics and microbes. And when the finished products, the individual robots, measured 2.8 micrometers in diameter. When exposed to a rotating magnetic field, the robots swarm together. By adjusting the number of robots that self organized into a flat cluster, the researchers found that they could alter the swarm's movement and speed. In lab experiments, the team replicated microplastics and bacteria in the environment by adding fluorescent polystyrene beads at 1 micrometer wide and actively swimming Pseudomonas aeruginosa bacteria, which can cause pneumonia and other infections, to a water tank. Next, the researchers added microbots to the tank and exposed them to a rotating magnetic field for 30 minutes, switching it on and off every 10 seconds. A robot concentration of 7.5 milligrams per milliliter, the densest of four concentrations tested, captured approximately 80% of the bacteria. Meanwhile, at the same concentration, the number of free plastic beads also gradually dropped as they were drawn to the microbots. They only move in a magnetic field. Afterward, the researchers collected the bot with a permanent magnet and used ultrasound to detach the bacteria clinging to them. They then exposed the removed microbes to ultraviolet radiation completing the disinfection. When reused, the decontaminated bots still picked up plastic and microbes, albeit smaller amounts of both. The microbiotic system provides a promising approach for ridding water of plastics and bacteria. I wonder how much smaller the amounts were and why. Is there something having to do with the use of the permanent magnet that affected their ability to attract and trap the materials? Interesting. Well, that's it. The easy solution, Cosmic, is because you can pick them out with a magnet, unlike the bacteria and the plastics, which you cannot pick out with a magnet. Briefly touching on space news, and again, why human beings should stay their ass at home and robots should handle the majority of exploration at this point. NASA Inspector General finds Orion heat shield issues pose significant risk to Artemis 2 crew safety. Heat shield issues threaten the timeline of NASA's Artemis moon exploration program. NASA's moon program still has some work to do before it can put human boots back on the lunar surface. The agency officer, or Office of Inspector General, ooh, phase, um, released a report on Wednesday titled "NASA's Readiness for Artemis 2 Crewed Mission to Lunar Orbit," which aims to determine how ready NASA is to launch its Artemis 2 moon mission, currently scheduled for late 2025. The Inspector General writes that Artemis 1 test flight of the Orion spacecraft revealed anomalies with the Orion heat shield, separation bolts, and power distribution that pose significant risks to the safety of the crew. Resolution of these anomalies is among the most significant factors impacting NASA's readiness for Artemis 2, the report adds. The report says NASA found over 100 areas on Orion's heat shield where thermal material protects the spacecraft from the heat of reentry had worn away differently than expected. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be able to push it that far at him. Um, because an exploding rocket is one thing, but an exploding rocket containing people, um, that has a negative effect on space exploration, right? It's contraindicated and counterproductive. So I don't think they would push it that far, right? So yeah, separation bolt melting and erosion. Jesus Christ. Images show heat shield char loss post Artemis 1 mission, including cavities resulting from loss of large chunks of the heat shield during reentry. There is that, Adam. Now, Business Insiders. Sam Altman doesn't think we are worried enough about about how AI will impact the economy. Yes, people want to talk about, oh, the misinformation and oh, this and oh, that. The number one concern has to be how it's going to impact the economy. AI has the potential to wreak havoc, or have I heard that name before, on the upcoming election season. But when OpenAI CEO Sam Altman was asked for his thoughts on how the spread of AI generated misinformation may affect elections, tech leader appeared to be more concerned about another issue: AI's impact on the economy. The thing I'm most worried about right now is the speed and magnitude of the socioeconomic change may have and what the impacts on what that will be. Altman said the discussion around AI's effect on the economy, like how technology may lead to mass job replacement, morning Red Hobbit, died down this year compared to last. He said he worries what could happen if people don't take these concerns seriously. GPT-4 didn't have this huge detectable impact on the economy, and so people were kind of like, oh, well, we were too worried about that, and that's not a problem. I have a fear that we just won't take that one seriously enough going forward, and it's a massive, massive issue. Altman didn't immediately respond to a request for comment from Business Insider before publication when asked why he thinks it would be an issue. Jesus Christ. Oh. New research is revealing the extent to which AI can disrupt the economy. An IMF study from earlier this year found that AI may impact roughly 60% of jobs in advanced economies. Roughly half of those jobs can be automated, the IMF wrote, which could lead to less hiring and lower wages. In turn, nearly 12 million U.S. workers may need to switch jobs by 2030, a separate McKinsey study found. Just switch jobs. Just switch. Just do something else. It doesn't matter that this is what you went to college for, and this is where your education lies, and this is where your experience lies, and now that job has been fully automated. Just switch. Just switch. Just pick something else to do. Workers seem to be already feeling the effects of AI on their jobs. Some CEOs say they've replaced their staff with an AI chatbot, and some professionals have said they lost work to tools like ChatGPT. And then they go doing the thing about how AI doesn't spell doom and gloom for all workers. Those optimistic about AI say knowing how to use the technology can help employees save time and boost productivity. They can even move up the corporate ladder and make more money. All of them? All of them. All of them can? Everyone? Is that how that works? Oh, mama. Oh. Ooh. Hmm. This is an important piece of information. And it's another. Okay. Uh, from Forbes. Forbes. Uh, come on, dude. European threat to end-to-end encryption would invade phones. European lawmakers have been implementing a way to circumvent end-to-end encryption to address CSAM. What some activists term the chat control law. End-to-end communication guarantees that if you communicate with someone, only a receiving device will be available, and the sending device can decrypt or see the message in question. This is close to Bitcoin's principle for spending money and financial flows, allowing you to choose who you reveal your spending to and who not to, with privacy preserving and self custody technologies also under attack. Freedom technology. Okay, so this is definitely an opinion piece. Like Bitcoin and Nostr, which has recently built a proposal for end to end encrypted messages, and open source tools like Signal focus on giving people digital privacy and autonomy. Principles under attack from a recent proposal to scan users' devices for consent before it is encrypted. Experts in cryptography and other scientists and researchers have released an open letter to discuss the proposal's technical and policy issues. The urgency of the moment is because the legislation has a realistic chance of passing this time, and the surprise of all is being proposed right before the European elections. After several other attempts had been thwarted, as Bart Preniel, one of the originators of the letter, explains, the Belgian presidency has advanced a new version of the chat control law, tweaked in two places to get more political support. The first tweak is that different services will be categorized into different levels of risk, with only high risk services being scanned. However, the definition of high risk service is any that offers end to end encryption and real time communication. Apps like Signal and WhatsApp, used widely by so many, would fall under that definition. Services that allow for anonymous IDs, the default on the internet, would also fall under this category. The second tweak was made to address the issue of false positives. The proposal suggests triggering reporting only after a certain threshold is met. Um, and then they're talking about it as it relates to CSAM. Um, However, this approach could lead to innocent individuals being flagged as suspicious. However, a parent who takes photos of their own child might do so multiple times, potentially triggering the algorithm and leading to false accusations. The sheer number of false positives, which could reach millions in a week, could make the proposed solution untenable and subject many innocent people to unwarranted suspicion. What European courts might strike even this new version, while European courts might strike even this new version, as they indicated that weakening encryption of secure communication is banned, it might still leave a lag time of a few years before the courts rule against the legislation. By this time, it might have morphed into another version that can be acceptable. This is happening with data retention of electronic communications by European police services. While the courts have set their opinions, it can take time to rein back what legislators set in motion once rolling. Will this mean that we will be stopped from using VPNs? Um, I I guess you weren't here yesterday, but apparently VPNs have huge gaping holes in them, unless you're using Android or Linux. So you have a lot of faith. Um, Windows, Microsoft is, if I'm recalling this correctly, and I could be missing something, but I can actually look. That's why we maintain the database. Um, that might not actually be the option. Okay, so this was the article from yesterday, Cosmic, about um, excuse me, the VPNs, and then doing a quick look to see if I can find. It was from a few days ago. But yeah, apparently Windows is going to interfere with VPNs, if I'm remembering this correctly. But I can't find it, so I can't. Something like that. Yes, Red Hobbit. Did you? That'd be cool. Do, 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 do. Yes, you did. Thank you, Red Hobbit. Coming in clutch. So this was the Microsoft's latest window update, breaks VPNs, and there's no fix. All right, so put those pieces of information together there, Cosmic, and you can see what's happening. And then recently, Google, as part of Google One, you had access to a Google VPN. Now, how you feel about a Google VPN is your whole thing. Um, but I used it, right? Like I used it on my phone. And then they took it away. And I'm thinking that they might have, considering that the attack that neuters the VPNs has been around apparently since 2002. Um, that could be why. It may become. I'm not saying it is right. There could be other solutions. We are clever. But it could be that VPNs are no longer going to be effective in any meaningful way, and therefore they will become another piece of abandoned technology. We shall see. From the register, uh, another thing about end to end encryption. End to end encryption may be the bane of cops, but they can't close that Pandora's box. Internet Society's Robin Wilton tells us the war on privacy won't be won by the plod. This is these folks are like from the UK, and they use words sometimes that even I miss. I've been watching British TV since I was a kid. Police can complain all they like about strong end-to-end encryption making their jobs harder, but it doesn't matter because the technology is here and won't go away. That's what Robert Wilton, director of Internet Trust at the Internet Society, I want to be part of the Internet Society, told us when we spoke recently about the state of end to end encryption in light of Europol becoming the latest international law enforcement group to urge regulators and tech giants to ditch the practice. The lively chat, as you can see here below. Strong end to end encryption is a practice of encrypting messages and other info into two endpoint or between two endpoints so that even the provider of that encryption and the carriers transferring the data can't snoop on and read the contents. Law enforcement argues this leaves them unable to shut down serious crime, from human trafficking and drug smuggling to CSAM production, because investigators can't intercept and pore over people's communications. Plot is an anachronism for policemen. Thank you. Wilton disagrees. If you look back to about 2015 and look at the proliferation of available end to end encrypted messaging services and apps since then, somehow the number of arrests for illegal images should have dropped off the cliff. But it hasn't. It has pretty much remained constant. In other words, the cops haven't shown that encryption has impeded crime solving. Law enforcement wants it banned. They're going to have to prove their case, something Wilton said hasn't happened yet, and Europol's letter didn't help. The claims made by Europol were a lot of statements and assertions, but pretty thin on evidence. I like this guy. What about the newly enacted laws in the UK where the Online Safety Act potentially impedes end to end encryption in favor of police access? Is that an indicator that the encryption fight is a losing one? Quite the opposite from Wilton's perspective. It's a futile fight for law enforcement. Think of the number of connected things that we're surrounded by now. To then say, we're going to legislate for a world in which it's present there, but it's absent from messaging, I think that's just wishful thinking. Yeah. The worst case scenario is they find a way to do it from any public facing app, and you end up with a situation where you're creating an environment where people are going to knock off apps, right? They're going to be headed out there, and you're going to go to a website that's not in um like the Google Play Store, like a trusted location. And then you're going to have people putting weird apps on their phone in order to have end-to-end encryption. And I'm not talking about weirdos or criminals. I'm talking about regular folk who just want, like everyone who uses Signal who isn't up to something. Everyone who uses WhatsApp who isn't up to something, right? Like WhatsApp is like the most used app in India, right, for communications. So like all of those folks, right? We don't want to force people to look for a similar solution that leaves them in a vulnerable position. That's counterproductive to what law enforcement is allegedly trying to accomplish. Morning, Nemesis. I mean, cops aren't on the web after illegal connections. That's some silly nonsense or some sci-fi nonsense. Maybe they ask a provider for bulk data. Some comply, some won't. Subscribe by the ones who don't. Yeah. It's a net bad, right? Like ultimately, it's a net bad for everyone, even for those of us who don't use that type of app, right? Then you're still creating an environment where you're having people's devices become tools of like a botnet or something to that effect. Now everyone's life is more difficult. So this happened. Storage manufacturer SK Hynix raided by South Korean regulators. Investigation into supplier Fadu intensifies. Financial watchdogs looking to compare records between SK Hynix and Fadu. On April 30th, 2024, South Korean officials from the country's financial watchdog group raided the SK Hynix headquarters in Incheon. The move was part of an ongoing investigation into the alleged bloated IPO of fabless SSD and controller company Fadu. SK Hynix is one of Fadu's major clients. Officials from South Korea's Financial Supervisory Service searched SK Hynix's office and accounting department. And they secured data related to the company's business with Fadu and detained unnamed employees for questioning. SK Hynix confirmed the relevant employees were being detained as witnesses and were actively cooperating with the investigation. So before its IPO in August of 2023, Fadu told investors estimated annual revenue for 2023 would total 120 billion won or 86.5 million. The company then debuted on South Korea's Kosdaq stock market with a selling price of 31,000 won or $22.70 per share and a market cap of approximately 1.5 trillion won or 1.1 billion. Badu failed to achieve those expectations, and its stock price more than halved in the months following the IPO. Investors and regulators alike have called into question some of Fadu's corporate listings for failing to disclose information that might have influenced the stock price. Shareholders responded by suing Fadu, underwriters NH Investment and Securities, and Korea Investment and Securities. This prompted South Korea's FSS to intervene and search Fadu's Korean offices, as well as those of NH Investment, Korea Investment, and the Kosdaq exchange itself in March. That is. We don't get that here. Like, shit was wild in August, and then by March, they were raiding stuff. That's just. The agency's Special Judicial Police next raided SK Hynix headquarters. Reportedly, the FSS intends to compare SK Hynix's financial records with those Fadu maintained. And the reason why I'm concerned about this is because SK Hynix has positioned itself as one of the largest memory chip makers in the world. High bandwidth memory modules used in AI chipsets were already sold out for 2024 and close to being sold out for 2025. Um, like again, the technology needs to, or the hardware needs to keep pace with development, and none of this is a justification that we should just let SK Hynix do their thing and not investigate them. If they're being criminal, then they need to be investigated and heads are going to roll. But um, it shows how, like, because there are so few chip makers and we have had 50 years to diversify this, this production line, and we haven't done that, like we as humans, um, this disruption is probably going to cause the price of memory chips to go up and reduce supply. So we need solutions to this. All right, this is another one on AlphaFold. AlphaFold 3. So it's shooting 62 to 76%, showing how proteins interact with other proteins, ions, strands of genetic code in smaller molecules, such as those developed for medicine. In tests, the program's accuracy varied from 62% to 76%. So I'm excited again. Like, this was a total win. What is up, Business Insider? Like, I look at this on my phone and there's no issue, and then I look at it on the computer and then there's an issue. The West is freaking out that China is making too much stuff, and it looks like China might be starting to agree. the West has been complaining that China. Amy, okay, okay. Cornier West. Welcome in. Good morning. The West has been. Is this you? Are you the one who's been complaining that China is overproducing goods? Are you the West? Um, that China's overproducing goods and dumping them on the global markets. The comments have incurred the ire of Beijing, which has, as recently as Monday, denied the claims. But on Wednesday, China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology issued a proposal that indicates Beijing may agree with some of the West's accusations, or they're just willing to meet you partway in order for you to shut up. In its proposal, the ministry lays out plans to regulate the battery industry, which, alongside electric vehicles and solar cells, is a key pillar of growth in China's economic transformation. The proposal covers a range of issues, including minimum technical standards and ecological guidelines for battery production. Notably, however, it also states that lithium ion manufacturers should avoid building factories that simply expand production capacity. But why though? We need more batteries. In 2023 alone, China's battery production it was already big enough to fill global demand. The proposal illustrates China's own separate concerns about overcapacity, despite the administration of Xi Jinping pushing back on the claims. It has come just as Xi wraps up his first trip to the European Union in 5 years. Overcapacity doesn't extend to all sectors. Um, yeah. No, it's just like, again, it's my concern is if favoring the production of capital versus the addressing of climate change, right? We need more solar panels, we need more batteries. And while we may have met, China may have met global demand in 2023, if we're installing more solar, then we need more batteries, and therefore we have greater demand. All this stuff follows, um, and that's what I want to see. Speaking, speaking. What up, DJ? Speaking of China, Chinese humanoid factory video plunges back into the uncanny valley. 20-second video from inside a Chinese humanoid robot factory is causing some consternation today around social media. It shows a range of highly realistic looking, partially skinned humanoids under construction. I mean, if this is what you're into, right? Was it Battle Angel Alita kind of vibe going on? This isn't real. I don't I don't accept that this is real. It's too shiny. It's unnecessarily shiny. You know what I mean? It feels like this was like created just for the purposes of creating it, right? Like for this. No. It like No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Right? What is the purpose of this pod? You know what I mean? Why are these robots? You don't make the robots that, and I'm not talking about the you know the humanoid robot. I'm talking about the work robots. Um, you don't make them shiny, right? You make them this standard office beige. That's what color they could be, or like you know some other different flat or semi gloss kind of color. Not like I mean, just look at it. Doesn't it feel like the presentation of something rather than actually something? You know what I mean? I can't zoom in on it. Or if I can, I don't know how. I'm a boomer. Yeah. No, I can just zoom up. I can scroll up or down. Here, if you want to zoom in. I did control and scroll. I know that much. See, I push control and I scroll and it scrolls up and down. It's making you can see it's making the new atlas bigger, but it's not really. Oh, there we go. We got to zoom in. Jesus Christ. I mean, just look at it. It looks fake. Like, what is this for? Right? This DNA strand up here, this DNA strand back here. I'm not buying it. This is not my first day on the internet. You know what I mean? Good morning, old lobster. Oh, maybe. The video uploaded by user Maymay4515 is uncredited, but shows several moving androids with human like hair and skin. In stark contrast to most of the general purpose humanoids we normally cover, which are designed to look like robots. So, this is the video. Oh, not the video. I can't make it go any bigger. When I clicked on it, I don't want to view. There we go. This is what I want to see. I can do this. Okay. From the top. Here we go. I have all your attention. I mean, they are like, are they robots or are they animatronics? Right? And we've seen this six-armed thing before. Right? They look, I mean, they could be bolted to this plate, right? And just doing animatronic shit. You know what I mean? And like, what's going on here? And then like why is there one of those holographic fan light sign things here? Like everything just seems kind of weird, right? Like more like this is a movie set. Like the Chinese version of Westworld. Right. It's a good question, Brett Hobbit, and I think you know the good answer. And then there's this, and if you watch, like the smoothness of the hand movements, like is impressive. But that's about it, right? I don't know. Feels like a movie set. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. So it is a robot company apparently. The arm tree is the giveaway. Chinese company X Robots has shown it before in an expo display. According to the company's Translate website, builds efficient and friendly smart guide services for government agencies, medical institutions, and service retail industries. Um, okay, so this is a display. This is from the X Future Science and Technology Museum. So this is what it appears to be, right? Like it's intended to look more like that. Custom animatronic mascots and presenters for corporate clients. There we are. We got to the solution. See? Good investigative work. We can figure stuff out. So, to contrast with the welcome bots, robot dogs armed with AI targeting rifles undergo U.S. Marine Special Op evaluation. Quadrupeds are being reviewed, or quadrupeds being reviewed have automatic targeting systems but require human oversight to fire. The U.S. Marine Forces Special Operations Commander MARSOC is currently evaluating a new generation of robotic dogs developed by Ghost Robotics. Here's one of the things. People see the robot dog and they automatically go to Boston Dynamics, right? They don't bother to do the research of the dog form is just the form. Once Boston Dynamics proved that the dog form was viable and that it did what it needed to do, now everybody's using this form, right? Like there's a whole bunch of companies who are using this form. Um, so just just do the work. Know what you're talking about. It is scary. It's friggin' terrifying. I'm against all of this stuff. There's no way to stop it, right? Without getting all of the oh 998 on AliExpress. I don't even want to know. I'm not even looking. Y'all can look. While Marsog is testing Ghost Robotic Quadruped unmanned ground vehicles called UGVs for short, for various applications, including reconnaissance and surveillance. The possibility of arming them with weapons for remote engagements that may draw the most attention. It's not unprecedented. The U.S. Marine Corps has also tested robotic dogs armed with rocket launchers in the past. Marsoc is currently in possession of two armed QUGVs undergoing testing as confirmed by Onyx Industries staff, and their gun systems are based on Onyx's Sentry remote weapon system, which features an AI enabled digital imaging system and can automatically detect and track people, drones, or vehicles, reporting potential targets to a remote human operator, that could be located anywhere in the world. The system maintains a human in the loop control for fire decision and cannot decide to fire autonomously. Yet, right? Again, what we watched yesterday, the idea of speed. If you want to control the battlefield, you need speed. Humans in the loop are always going to slow that down. It's only going to take one. It's only going to take the threat of one. It's only going to take the idea of the threat of one. Right? Do I, and again, this is not me. This is standing in the position of the people who make these types of decisions, right? Standing in the, in the SecDef, standing as the president, one of these kind of things. Do I let the oppositions, and this is any country, this is also not the U.S. The U.S. isn't going necessarily to be the one to drive this. They all have this without a treaty, without something, tangible. They're all going to think this way because that's how states work. Do I put myself in the position, or do I put my country in the position where I'm going to slow down the speed at which my weapon systems can respond, um, when I can assume or believe or what have you that the opposition is not going to do that, right? They might go full autonomous. So I need to go full autonomous before they go full autonomous. This is how this works. Once you start down this path, you have to go all the way to the end. The alternative is treaties and shit. Nobody's anywhere near doing that. Human in the loop can also mean a guy looking at satellite photos once a week while thousands are dropped into an area each day. I mean, the current mythology is that any kill command is going to be attached to a human being for the idea of responsibility, the mythology of responsibility, right? So if someone dies, there will be a human killing them as opposed to the robot. Like that's better. Like just on its face, it's all shenanigans and misfeasance. But then, like again, it's not gonna last. Yep, we had our chance, and now it's. And this is here's the thing. This video, this picture right here. You know, this is like 2 years old. Yeah, July 2022. This is a Unitree robot. What up, Bong and stuff? This is a $3,000 Unitree robot that you can get off like Alibaba, like Old Lobster's talking about. And then this is a regular ass rifle, and then there's just something that connects to the trigger that allows the robot to pull the trigger. Now, if you watch this video, what you see is when the recoil happens on the rifle, it begins to drive the ass of the robot down and lift it up. But it's like, and see, the video went viral on social media, eventually leading Boston Robotics, Boston Dynamics, I think you mean, and other robot vendors to issue a pledge that October to not weaponize their robots, with notable exceptions for military uses, right? In April, we covered the Unitree Geo2 robot dog with the flamethrower on its back, on sale to the general public. Oh my God. Yeah, the one that was supposed to last like for a few months and ended up lasting for years. You mean that one, Nemesis? I do. I do have lull moderated. I am working on a another one in order to make use of it. Um, I do have this available with a subscription. Um, and yeah, All right. Get more positive news in our bellies. Drilling into magma, risky plan takes geothermal to supercritical extremes. The Krafla magma testbed. Time we got? Oh, it's only 9 o'clock. The Krafla magma testbed has the potential to be for geoscientists what the Large Hadron Collider has been for particle physicists. So say researchers working on the project to drill straight into a magma chamber to explore massive geothermal power. In 2009, researchers in Iceland drilled straight into the ground atop a known volcano. Just balls out. The original plan was to drill to a depth of 4.5 kilometers, about 2.8 miles, to just above a well-known or known magma chamber. You know what's hilarious about this? What stopped my brain for a second? The decimal place is tenths, so it makes perfect sense to do um, like 4.5 kilometers. But 2.8 miles is you strapping metric onto imperial. Like can we just go metric, right? Can we just move the fuck on at this point? It's 2024. However, as you might imagine, when it comes to messing with magma, things don't go entirely to plan. At a depth of just 2 kilometers, the equipment penetrated an unknown upper part of the chamber where the scalding hot magma plugged up the hole. Okay, damaged the drill and released a stream of noxious gas into the air. Phew. A similar project. Icelanders are hard, dude. A similar project was undertaken in 2014 with the same result. The drill hit an unexpected magma chamber, and the equipment was destroyed by acidic gases. Not a people who are easily intimidated, the Icelanders took these two projects as a good sign. That's because they found magma much closer to the surface than anticipated, which means it can be more easily studied and potentially have its heat harnessed for massively more efficient geothermal power plants. So, they have decided to continue to poke their drills into more magma chambers as part of the KMT, which is to be the world's first magma observatory, supported by over 40 research institutes and companies from 11 different countries. The goal of the project is threefold. First, it will study magma itself and the way in which it interacts with the surrounding rock and transfers its heat out of the Earth's crust. Second, it will allow the direct observation of a volcanic system, which, the team hopes, will lead to better ways to monitor, predict, and alert people to new eruptions. Finally, and most dramatically, the KMT will explore using the tremendous heat energy contained in magma to dramatically improve the production of geothermal energy. Because the project will be deployed near the existing geothermal Krafla power station, there will be plenty of opportunity to experiment with actual power production. It does sound like a Doctor Who episode. They should name themselves Spicy. The Spicy Rocks. Um so yeah. Let's I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of geothermal and all that other stuff. And I'm gonna leave it to the experts. The reason why magma is such an appealing add on to geothermal energy production is that it has the thermal power to heat water that turns the turbines into a supercritical state. Type of water forms when it's heated above 373 degrees Celsius, or about 703 degrees Fahrenheit, under 220 bars of pressure, and it turns into a state of matter that is neither gas nor liquid. In this condition, the water can hold up to 10 times more energy than normal water or steam. Because of this, supercritical water is kind of a holy grail for geothermal energy advancement. Its use could dramatically improve the efficiency of energy production processes, making it an even more viable form of clean, available power, especially when coupled with other advances in the geothermal field. Ooh, wee. So, we didn't cover it, but it happened. OpenAI did a new partnership with Stack Overflow, and their users are not happy. Stack Overflow bans users en masse for rebelling against OpenAI partnership. Users banned for deleting answers to prevent them from being used to train ChatGPT. Stack Overflow is overflowing with salt. Stack Overflow, a legendary internet forum for programmers and developers, is coming under heavy fire from its users after it announced it was partnering with OpenAI to scrub the site's forum posts to train ChatGPT. Many users are removing or editing their questions and answers to prevent them from being used to train AI. Decisions which have been punished with bans from the site's moderators. Stack Overflow user Ben posted on Mastodon about Mastodon is still a thing. Look at that. About his experience editing his most successful answers to try and avoid having his work stolen by AI. Stack Overflow announced that they are partnering with OpenAI, so I tried to delete my highest rated answers. Stack Overflow does not let you delete questions that have accepted answers, many upvotes, because it would remove knowledge from the community. So instead, I changed my highest rated answers to a protest message. Within an hour, mods had changed the question back and suspended my account for 7 days. The moderator crackdown is just a reminder that anything you post on any of these platforms can and will be used for profit. Welcome to the internet, my guy. It's just a matter of time until all your messages on Discord, Twitter, etc., are scraped, fed into a model, and sold back to you. First time? Cross conversation today? Or did they release it today? They announced it a few weeks ago, or even maybe even a couple months. Maybe it just got released today. I figured, right? Had to be they had to do something because I don't think GPT-5 is ready for release, and a lot of other companies are making noise and getting ChatGPT out of the headlines, so they got to do something to respond. Um, and that would be it. That would be you haven't well, yeah, you were getting away from that for some time, so. What's your if you feel like volunteering, what's your latest go-to, Old Lobster, for like what do you use? Perplexity? Perplexity's a good one, right? It's got a lot going for it. I like the links, right there. Yeah, if your issue is hallucinations, having the links that it drew the information from just makes sense. Um, excuse me, harsh words, but words that ring true with fellow Stack Overflow users who are joining the post protest. Users are also asking why ChatGPT could not simply share the source of the answers it will dispense in this new partnership. both citing its sources and adding credibility to the tool. Of course, this would reveal how the sausage of LLMs is made and would not look like the shiny, super smart generative AI assistant of the future promised to users and investors. No. No. We were just talking about Perplexity, right? Perplexity is actively using search. What they want Stack Overflow used for is for training. Um, so way before we get to deployment is training, and that's why they can't do that. That's just a function of the process. Site moderators preventing high popularity posts from being deleted is legally above board. Yes, it's called a TOS that you agreed to, an EULA that you agreed to. I understand that up until now it hasn't mattered, but it's what you agreed to. Angry users claim they are enabled to delete their own content from the site through the right to forget, a common name for a legal right most effectively codified into law through the EU's GDPR. Among other things, the Act protects the ability of the consumer to delete their own data from a website and to have data about them removed on request. However, Stack Overflow's terms of service contains a clause carving out Stack Overflow's irrevocable ownership of all content subscribers provided to the site. There you go, right? I I understand you're mad, but it's too late for you to be mad. Users who disagree with having their content scraped by ChatGPT are particularly outraged by Stack Overflow's rapid flip flopping on its policy concerning generative AI. For years, the site had a standing policy that prevented the use of generative AI in writing and rewording any questions, answers posted. Okay, that's different. Moderators were allowed and encouraged to use AI detection software when reviewing posts. Also, Stack Overflow was getting murdered once ChatGPT came out, right? Like it dropped off in usage like off a cliff. And then in okay, so Dalin Grimm here is equivocating in order to make a point, and they're just wrong, right? Not allowing people to use generative AI in writing or rewording questions and answers is not the same as having a principled stance on AI for profit. You want to conflate those things, that's on you. More good news. FCC explicitly prohibits fast lanes closing possible net neutrality loophole. Putting applications into fast lanes would violate FCC's no throttling rule. It just released the final text yesterday. Final text has some changes compared to the draft version. Both the draft and final rules ban paid prioritization or fast lanes that application providers have to pay internet service providers for. But some net neutrality proponents raise concerns about the draft text because it would have let ISPs speed up certain types of applications as long as the application providers don't have to pay for special treatment. The advocates warn the FCC to clarify its no throttling rule to explicitly prohibit ISPs from speeding up applications instead of only forbidding the slowing down of applications. Without such a provision, they argue that ISPs could charge consumers more for plans that sped up specific types of content. So, yeah. Under the draft version of the rules, the FCC would have used a case by case approach to determine whether specific implementation of what it called positive discrimination would harm consumers. The updated language in the final order clearly prohibits ISPs from limiting fast lanes to apps or categories of apps they select, leaving no question as to whether the practice is prohibited. So, yeah, makes sense. Of course, it's a bit contrary to the data privacy they ran till now. And of course, any company will bar its use for company work if it hasn't already. You're talking about Stack Overflow. Exclusive. Employees are bringing their own AI to work. 3 out of 4 knowledge workers around the world are using generative AI, but many of them are hiding it from their employers, according to a new joint report from LinkedIn and parent company Microsoft. Today I learned that LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft. Um, I never cared, but now I know. So this is more touching on the work trend index that we touched on earlier. Um, Employees are using AI outside of official company strategy and rules. Bosses are struggling to measure AI benefits and adjust their AI investments accordingly. All generation of knowledge workers are bringing their own AI tools to work, ranging from 73% of boomers to 85% of Gen Z, and a slim majority admit to using it even or on even their most important tasks. I did not know that, DJ. I kind of avoid going on. Is that really a shortcut at that point? Shift Control Win Alt L. That's a big L right there. Yeah, I have avoided going on LinkedIn ever since I left office work. Um, I'm good. I'm good. Of AI users surveyed, 53% said they worry that if their employers know they're using AI to be more productive or creative, it will signal that they're replaceable. Of leaders surveyed, 66% said they wouldn't hire someone without AI skills, but employees say they're not being helped to get those skills. Only 39% of employees said their organizations provide AI training. I just want you to contrast this with like last year, or even like 6 months ago, when we were looking at the report about how no, there's no, AI. We're not adding stuff, and you know, nah, and now it's like everyone's using it, homie. Employers never helped develop Google skills either. It's fair, right? But we looked at the article earlier about one of the things that help you retain employees is providing that is providing them with ongoing education, right? The process of providing ongoing education to your employees is indicative of that they are worth it to you to invest in, because education is an investment. So you can reflect an appreciation for your employees by providing them with free training. There are data security policies. You're not wrong. A friend of mine recently ran into that because he was using ChatGPT to assist him in his work, even though he had anonymized all the data and was following proper security procedures. They decided that it wasn't that it was no longer going to be available to use, in spite of the fact that the company's software was getting an upgrade, and that upgrade includes AI, and that AI is powered by ChatGPT. So basically, it created a situation where he was using a tool, and now he had to wait 5 weeks before he could begin using the tool again, just in the authorized manner. I only work here. Um, sorry, sir. Those are Wendy's. AI power users, defined as those who use generative AI at least several times a week and who have saved 30 minutes a day through that, have started to fundamentally reorganize their workdays around AI use. Survey that forms the basis of the report included 31,000. Now, this is a good number. This is a nice number. That's a lot of people. 31,000 people across 31 countries. The results were combined with deep dive research with Fortune 500 companies, hiring trends from LinkedIn, and trillions of anonymized Microsoft 365 data points. While workers are happy to dive into AI use and told the pollsters they feel the productivity benefits, their bosses are struggling with AI. 79% of leaders believe their company needs to adopt AI to stay competitive, but 59% are worried they aren't effectively quantifying productivity gains from AI. 60% worry their AI plans are insufficient. And this is like one of the things that has been going on is this idea that like people are just strapping AI onto everything, right? We collectively have done a very bad job of educating humanity on how to use this. That's the problem, right? People have an idea of how that something can help them. There's AI could do stuff for us, and no one is telling them how to do that. So it's just kind of like you're on your own. Do I have good resource for that? For what you could do to use AI to be more productive? I don't. I don't have anything specifically. Um, the best thing that I could offer you, Goblin Tool, GitHub. Look at these. Sounds like a market maker. Local Llama. Local Llama is that's an AI itself, right? Not an education. Um, Matt Wolf. Matt Wolf on the YouTubes, right?
So last week, a new chat.
Do 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 do. Matt Wolf has oh, it's a community? Okay. This is what it's about. Like everyone is like a potluck. Everyone brings what they have to the table, and then everyone takes what they need. Matt has a lot of good like videos regarding using tools, different tools that are available, and then his futuretools.io page has a lot of stuff on there, and it's well organized. In spite of the mountains of different websites that are out there, um, like that. So I guess I do in a small way. The other thing is to what I always recommend is to ask your chatbot of choice what you can do with it. Talk to it, right? Have a conversation with the chatbot on what you're trying to accomplish and see what it can do to help you. Which is what I would recommend to most of these people. But it's like there's a lot of concerns, not just in for the employees who are worried about their jobs being eliminated by AI, but for management, right? You got to really ask yourself as management, what do you do that can't be replaced by AI? And other than order the pizza and keep up company morale, what do you actually do? You're a you're a filter and a job distribution program. You could totally be replaced by a flowchart. Oh, what do we got? Okay, that's actually going to be it for today. Um, Advisor, personal secretary, yeah, and then artistic work. Yeah, not everyone is has good artistic skills. You know what I mean? Thank you, Reed. Um, W chat, always W chat. So apparently, I missed important messages. Child is sick. How the hell does Jaina get 400 people on a rerun? Amazing. All right. Stick around for the raid. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Like, you can always ask me a question. I'm gonna raid out, so if it's not something I can answer quickly, um, you can always whisper it to me. Oh, there you go. Do you do you agree that if you stop putting CO2 into the atmosphere, that the atmosphere will be washed naturally? As a possibility, yes. It's time scales that I'm talking about, right? Like, while it could be good, it could be possible that stuff can just resolve itself over time. Um, will humanity have to suffer through that period of time? And there's no reason for us to do that suffering. Does that make sense? All right, we're headed over to Zach's. I appreciate every one of you. If you're watching this on the YouTube, because I'm going to upload it in a bit, you should come visit me on Twitch. Because we have a lot of fun over here, and you get to participate in chat. I think that's it. I will see y'all tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. In the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot, and always remember that Shoggy loves you. So do I. Be great.